And good afternoon, John Verlin once again with On-Demand Advertising Solutions, another digital marketing update. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about a post I received in an email from, it's actually written, it's a good post written by Joshua Althauser. He's an entrepreneur, and he did this for Manta. And he basically is talking about search engine optimization. And he says, an art and a science, but how posting valuable original content can boost your website rank in Google. And so I wanted to touch on some of the points he brought up and just talk a little bit more about this, because in the last month or so, I've had a number of emails, people asking me, well, what do you suggest I budget for advertising online versus advertising in traditional media, and how should I get ranked in the search engine? Should I even do a blog? All those kind of questions. So I wanted to just discuss some of the things he says and then comment on them. First point he brings up is to build a foundation of original content. And he says it seems like it should be a no-brainer, but he's noticed the same thing I've noticed, and that is a lot of businesses aren't seeing it that way. And he says you can talk about, writing your personal development as a company, maybe useful tools and tips that readers or listeners can benefit from. But it really needs to come down to activating the prospect or the person reading or listening to your content and get their imagination going, get them engaged. And I've had people email me, as I mentioned, what should I do? What kind of content should I write about? Do I need to do keywords for search engine optimization, things like this? This used to be a big thing. You would do this, but then businesses started stuffing keywords, trying to get around Google, and they started penalizing them because they changed their algorithms. And this is what I've talked about in the past regarding Facebook as well. You can only control what you can control. You can't control their algorithms or their methodology for any of the social mediums out there. And so you just need to really, the focus of everything, if you're not doing this, you ought to be thinking about doing this or doing it, and that is your content. That's where the money should be spent according to a number of sources. And the reason is because you can control that, but it's reflecting what your brand is. It's just like an ad. You design the ad for your business, and that reflects the image of your business. For example, there's an old-time European-style Swiss bakery and chocolate maker in Kansas City named Andre's Confiserie Suisse. And they used to advertise with me years ago on the classical station I worked with. And if you've ever been in there, you know what I'm talking about. But if you go in their store, it's immaculate. It feels like you're going into a Swiss bakery in Disney World. If you know what I'm talking, they have those little different lands, different countries, and a restaurant or a store that represents that country. Well, theirs is immaculate. It's clean. Everything's organized beautifully. It's just a wonderful experience. Steel counter, just like you would expect in Switzerland. And they have a cafe into the next room where you can have delicious coffee, your torte, or whatever pastry you bought, or chocolates, or whatever. So it's a great experience. And that's the key. Now, this is retail. The problem is, and if you've known any business like this, where the store looks great, but did they transfer that image over online to their website? And this is really important because this forms that online impression. Let's say you've never been to that store. You maybe have seen pictures of it, but you've never actually been in it to experience it. The only experience you're getting is from their website or content that's on the website. Now think about that. And that's why when it comes to content, it's so important, because this forms the brand impression. Forget about Google and search engines and rankings and all this. You need to focus your efforts, your resources on providing the experience online for that prospect, as good as or better than it is if they were to visit your store and if you had a retail establishment. Now, think about that. They could be doing great business, retail, but their online is terrible because it doesn't transfer over. Now, I'm not talking about Andres. I'm talking about any business where if they don't transfer that image online, then it could really hurt them. Think about Apple. Okay, you've seen the Apple website. They're a standard. Beautiful, clean design. And they modeled their stores similar. So when you go into an Apple store, you feel almost like you're walking through their website because it has the same clean, open look as the website. Now, if it were the opposite, psychedelic walls and crammed corners and whatever, it would not carry over as a brand. You would go, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. So that brand image online has to be the epitome of what you're all about, because that's how people will interpret it. So when it comes to your content has to be really good. Focus on great content, and if you do that, everything else will follow. Google search, everything will rank you higher because you are putting out good content. Now, you can't knock the ball out of the park all the time, but the fact you're doing it on a regular basis ties in with the image and overall look of your website and your blog. It will get ranked well over time. You don't have to worry about keywords as much. You could include those, but those aren't as important anymore as it used to be because Google is trying to devise great experiences for their customers, as is every business. So focus on that content. That's a key thing to build the base of your marketing platform. And again, use content that you think or know will engage your prospects, whether it's the content or the rich video and rich pictures, rich media content, because people like to look at things. Not pictures, yes. Short videos, yeah. Depends on what it's about and how it's being presented. Video podcasts, I love them because you can say a lot fairly quick, and they're relatively simple to produce, but people can take it with them wherever they are. They can just listen, just like if they're listening to music, like you probably are listening right now, anywhere and everywhere. They're readily accessible in a very simple way. Okay, so target the content to get your prospects engaged and promote your expertise versus your competition. People say, well, what do I talk about? What kind of content do I do? Well, this is it. You use content that promotes your business, your expertise, or your products. Go beyond the curtain and explain how the service was developed, or explain issues that your customers or prospects may have and they need answers. Particularly, if it's tax time and they need to know what the new tax laws are going to do to them, maybe you offer some tidbits and a series of podcasts or videos or blog posts. So that it digs down deep into. Matter of fact, Virgin Group is doing a series of dive deep podcasts so people can learn more about businesses. And it gets down under the surface, and that's what you want with your content, to let people experience behind the scenes of your business and your expertise, because guess what? Your competition may not even be doing this at all. And your perception is you're on top of things, you're engaged with the public, you're providing your expertise that they see you know what you're talking about, or they hear that you know what you're talking about, and now they form a judgment. And they're entering your shop, so to speak, with that content. And that will invite them to want to know more, want to email you, want to call you, whatever. So that gives you something to promote on all your media that you decide to do. Another thing you can do, invite clients, customers, other people in your industry to be interviewed in a podcast or to write a guest post on your blog. That's always great because it can form a backlink if they promote it to their people through email or however they want to do that, to say that, hey, I'm going to be featured on so-and-so business's blog, check me out. And you get a lot of free publicity from that, particularly if they've got a lot of followers and people like that. So a guest blog post, a guest interview, things like that, particularly with a good customer. Spiff them, give them a free interview, give them a copy of the MP3 they put on their website or blog, and promote it, and it all works together because they'll promote that too. So that's a great way to get more value or give more value to your customers. And again, promoting things on your blog gives you something to talk about in your ads. Find out more about how we make our delicious recipes for our soups at our restaurant by visiting this blog post, checking out our recipes, etc., etc. You can put that in your ad and a link, and now they have a reason to want to go see your blog or your website. Not just a general click here for more information, but a specific reason. Holiday recipes. Oh, I want to find that out. I want to, tax tips for tax time. Oh, I want to learn this now. I'm in, it's near April and we got to get these taxes done. Specific reasons to go visit your blog or website can be accomplished through the type of content you do. Okay? And then keep the same voice. The voice is what people expect to see or hear when they go visit your blog or your website. It's all consistent. It doesn't shift and become very conservative one moment, very snarky the next, or whatever. It has a standard voice to it. And looking good, as I mentioned, is really critical. Pay attention to the aesthetics of what it is you're putting out there. It's got to look good. That's part of your branding platform. The touch points of where people go online and they visit your website or your blog, and it's got to look good. And I can't tell you how many even marketing firms or ad agencies I've seen where they highlight their web design specialties and their website looks crappy. I mean, really. I've been shocked. Even well-known ad agencies who've been around forever, some of them don't look that hot, and it forms a judgment. And I personally, when I visited a couple, I was kind of shocked I'm thinking, did they not put much money into this? That was my first impression. Or are they losing out and they've been in business 30 years? I mean, that forms impressions. And so you want to make sure that stands out. And finally, he suggests you can use new content tools. There's one, for example, called Idea Flip that Google Webmaster has. It helps with the brainstorming process. And those are really great, to access all the different tools you can get online for free. John Verlin, 12@AT&T.net is my email. Love to hear from you. OnDemandAdvertisingSolutions.com is the website. We'll talk to you again soon.